On this edition of the Red Sox Rundown by Chat Sports, we are answering questions from the audience. Not just any questions, though. Questions from our Instagram followers. Welcome in to this edition of the Red Sox Rundown. I am your host, Jack, and as I promised in a video last week, we are answering Instagram comments because we got to 600 followers on Instagram, but we are almost to 700 followers now as well, and we are so close. We are getting to 1,000 followers. That is our next goal. If you want to be in the next Instagram mailbag here on the channel, you get featured, your name gets on the channel, your username, your picture gets on the video as well. If you want to be in a future Red Sox Rundown video, make sure you hit us up and follow us at the Red Sox Rundown on Instagram. We're at 683 followers. We have been growing rapidly. 317 to our next milestone of 1,000. Help us get there. That would be a huge milestone here at the Red Sox Rundown. And without further ado, let's get into it. So we got Matthew coming in. Thank you so much for asking a question, Matthew. I really appreciate it. What is the biggest weakness of the Sox right now? And is the break slump a myth? I'm going to start real quick on the second half of that question. Is the break slump a myth? They haven't proven otherwise. They haven't proven that it's a myth. They are 2-4 out of the break. Now, they've played really good teams, but this is supposed to be a good team. And they haven't proven that they are a good team. So I wouldn't say that it's a myth, because over the last few years, they've crumbled in the second half. That's just been their MO, and they haven't really shown differently this year. Now, the makeup of the team this year is different than it has been in the past, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think they've proven yet that this is or is not a myth. But let's talk about the biggest needs. You said, what are the biggest weaknesses? I reframed this as biggest needs. These are what I think are the biggest needs at the deadline for the Red Sox. Starting pitcher. People a week ago would have argued with me on this, but I think after watching Giolito, Richard Fitz, Walker Buehler, Brian Bayo all struggle in some way, shape, or form, I think everyone can admit that getting a number 2 starter is the number 1 need. Backup catcher, I think, is number 2. I know a lot of people would say a bigger bat is number 2. I think backup catcher is number 2. Carlos Narvaez is starting to show the wear and tear of the season, and you cannot keep trotting Connor Wong, who has a 7 OPS plus out on the diamond. Number 3 for me is a big bat, powerful bat, preferably a first baseman. And then 4 is bullpen relief. But like I said, starting pitching is the number 1 need. Giolito, Bayo, Buehler have all shown cracks this year. They've all shown inconsistencies. Giolito and Bayo have been good for a majority of the year, but over the last few weeks, they've struggled just as much as everyone else. And then on top of that, when you talk about Richard Fitz, he's a rookie, and he didn't pitch well against the Phillies either. So, you've got Garrett Crochet, who is your world beater number 1 starter, but everyone else is inconsistent. That is the name of the 2025 Boston Red Sox rotation. It's inconsistent. So, therefore, I think by far it is the biggest weakness and biggest need for the Red Sox this offseason. But I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think is the Red Sox biggest need? I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video, so YouTube's about to throw you an ad break. Do not click off of the ad. It actually helps us here at the Red Sox Rundown if you let the ad play. And while it plays, take advantage of that time. Go on down and let me know, what do you think is the Red Sox biggest need at the 2025 MLB trade deadline? A loyal follower of the program, Austin, who I met at Fenway Park on my trip in Boston a few weeks ago. Austin, thank you so much for the support. Says, do you think the Red Sox will make any significant moves at the trade line? I hope that they can. Well, Austin, it's a loaded question. Do I think they will make significant moves? I think what I would ask is, what do you define as a significant move? Is it significant in terms of you bolster a need? Or is it significant as in you make a big flashy move like a Joe Ryan? I think they will fill their needs, but how large do they fill those needs? Jeff Passan had a very interesting report. We talked about this in yesterday's video, but here's the biggest quote, the biggest damning quote for the Red Sox. That at this moment, the Red Sox are not inclined to engage in any large-scale deadline moves. Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow has said the team wants to add after trading Devers. And while it would surprise no one if they did, Boston is an organization that deeply values operating efficiently. And a market like this is the epitome of inefficient. Holding now would speak to the Red Sox comfort with their current roster and the exceptional price to bolster it. So I talked about this in the video yesterday. I don't know how accurate this reporting is from Passan. I trust Passan with my life. Like he's the guy in terms of not Boston, Baseball Insiders. But everything we've heard is the contrary. Like the Red Sox, everything we've heard is that they are inclined to get incredibly aggressive at this deadline. But I do agree with Passan on this front, though. And this might be what he was alluding to, and this is what I'm going to allude to when answering this question. This market sucks. This trade market and this deadline, I think, are going to be super boring because it is a seller's market. There are too many teams right now that are middling, that are still in the race to make the playoffs. Therefore, there are a bunch of teams that are not willing to sell. They all want to buy because they think they still have the potential to make the playoffs. So do I think they make a significant move at the deadline like a Joe Ryan? I'm going to say no. Do I think they are active and make moves to help bolster their needs? I will say yes. Now, what those moves are, I don't know, but don't expect them to be some big, giant Joe Ryan moves like we were talking about a few weeks ago. Luke Holmes is next. Thank you so much for taking the time to ask a question, Luke. Do you think the division is in reach at all? So, going into the break, I would have said abso-freaking-lutely. I think at the time you were 3 games out, maybe 4 games out of first place in the division. But as it stands, at the time of recording this is July 24th at 4:31 p.m., I believe before the night slate of games has started, you sit 6 games back on the Blue Jays in the division. Yankees are 4, Rays are 7.5, and the Orioles, the biggest surprise of the year, the Orioles absolutely sucking, 15.5 back. My take on this is this. 6 games back isn't impossible. You've still got 2 months left in the regular season. You've still got upwards of 50-plus games left in the regular season. But it's very unlikely, in my opinion. The Blue Jays are hot. They are not losing. And you only face them one more time this season, if I remember correctly. So to make up ground just by playing them, you could make up maybe 3 games if you were to sweep them. But you're, 6 back right now? So that's only half the way there. So I find it a little unlikely just because the Blue Jays have been so hot, but it's not impossible. But I think we should be focusing our sights more on the wild card race as a whole. What do you think, though? Predict it for me. Do the Red Sox win the East? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know down below in the comments. Like I said, I'm going to probably say no. I just think the Blue Jays have too big of a lead. It's, again, not impossible, but I do think it's probably improbable. But you let me know. Y for yes if you think they do, N for no if you think they do not. Do the Red Sox win the American League East? Brendan Watson, thank you so much for taking the time to submit a comment, Brendan. I really appreciate it. What would you do at first base, and where do you see Romy Gonzalez for the season? So that is my number 3 need at the trade deadline. Big bat, a.k.a. probably first base. Here are my targets, and here I think the biggest first base names that are like legitimate options. Ryan O'Hearn, Josh Naylor, and Luis Ariz are the 3 names that I would consider. Now, I think Luis Ariz is not going to happen. I don't even think they're going to trade him, but he's been in trade conversations, so I thought I'd add him because if he was available, I would definitely add him. But Ryan O'Hearn is the dream scenario. He would be the dream scenario. He hits for power. I think he would absolutely love hitting at Fenway Park, and he could be your everyday first baseman. Look, Romy Gonzalez and Abraham Toro have done great, but you can't look at me with a straight face and tell me that they are everyday first basemen. They're just not. Ryan O'Hearn is. And Ryan O'Hearn would be an instant injection of adrenaline into this lineup. So Ryan O'Hearn would be what I would do. Is it likely? We'll see. For Romy, I'd move him back to the super utility role. He still mashes lefties. He's still very valuable with his offensive versatility. So I'd move him back to the super util role where he was at the beginning of the season. And Abraham Toro, if he's got an option back down to Worcester. Or unfortunately, you might just have to DFA him. That's what I would do. Ryan O'Hearn, and then move Romy back to a super utility role. Guys, when the Red Sox make a move, we're going to make a video. That is my guarantee to you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are in a sub battle with ourselves. I know that's crazy. There's no other Major League Baseball channels here at Chat Sports. So I was like, okay, well, I got to figure out how we do a sub battle. We're doing it with ourselves. Last month in June, a lot happened in June, so we gained a lot of new audience. 1,012 subscribers in the month of June. We are less than a week away till the end of July, and we're lagging behind a little bit. 656 subscribers. Help me beat us in June. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to be live next week for the MLB trade deadline. Anytime the Red Sox make a move, we will also make a video. That is my guarantee to you. And, of course, you already know how it is. Through the good and through the bad, we are recapping every single Red Sox game in short-form coverage. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out. Join the family today. Connor coming in with the next question. Thank you, Connor, for taking the time to ask a question. I really do appreciate it. Do you think it's a good move for the Sox to trade Duran away for a closing pitcher or even a number 2? Loaded question. Loaded question. In my opinion, there is only one closer worth Jarren Duran, maybe 2. Mason Miller, probably worth it, but only one that I think could get traded at the deadline, and that is Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians. This was my trade idea that I came up with probably a week ago when CBS Sports predicted that the Red Sox would trade Jarren Duran to the Guardians for Emmanuel Clase. I would do this trade. I mean, hell, it's the trade I came up with. Emmanuel Clase, David Fry, Nolan Jones. The Guardians get Jarren Duran and prospect Justin Gonzalez. That is a trade that I would do, but that's the only trade I would do for a reliever. At the end of the day, if you're going to trade Duran, you're going to trade Duran for a starter, and it's going to be a controllable starter. Now, there has been a lot of rumors that have come up in the past few days, specifically from one Jon Heyman, that perked up my ears a little bit. This came 2 days ago from Jon Heyman. The Padres are listening on Dylan Cease with the Yankees, Mets, Cubs, and Red Sox among the teams believed to have checked in. San Diego is a buyer, but often listens on rentals. Major long shot, says Jon Heyman. You know who the Padres want really, really bad? Jarren Duran. Every trade rumor around Duran connects the Padres. A.J. Preller wants Duran. He is his prize. Trade possession is Jarren Duran. If you could get Dylan Cease in a Jarren Duran trade, that might be the missing piece to get a trade done, because what has been my argument? We've talked about Duran to the Padres in multiple videos on this channel. And what have I said every single time? They don't have a package to get him. If you had Dylan Cease, they might have a package. That's all I'm going to say. But you let me know. Go down below in the comments. I know everyone hates the Jarren Duran trade rumors. I do too. I'm a big Jarren Duran fan. I bought his City Connect jersey. He's one of my favorite players. I got to meet him at On-Field Photo Day. I took a photo with him. But it's a world we live in and something we have to consider. Would you trade for Dylan Cease? T for trade, P for pass. Let me know down below in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. Be nice. Don't be mean. Just let me know what you think down below in the comments. Luis, thank you so much for taking the time to ask a question. If the Sox need to get rid of one outfielder during the deadline, who would you get rid of? In my opinion, Sedan. It's interesting, Luis. I would get rid of Willie Abreu. I've been saying this since the offseason. If I had to get rid of an outfielder, I would get rid of Willie Abreu. However, I understand the Duran rumors, though. Wilyer Abreu is ripping the cover off the baseball. If you told me at the beginning of the season Wilyer Abreu would be the first player to 20 home runs this year, I would call you crazy, but there he is with 20 home runs. Duran has not played as well as he did last year. He just hasn't. And his defense has regressed incredibly. And honestly, he'd probably get you the highest return. So I understand the Duran trade rumors. Wilyer's a better fielder. Wilyer's mashing the ball. And of all three, and I know you mentioned Cedon as your option, but I think Cedon's the safest of the bunch. Cedon is signed to a long-term contract, a cheap long-term contract. He is a platinum glove level center fielder. And he's mashing the ball like we never thought we'd ever see. So I honestly think Cedon is the safest of the bunch. I would trade Wilyer. But at the end of the day, I think we all know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be Jarren Duran. Elliot with the next question. Do you think they are in a good spot to be in the playoffs? So, interesting question. Here are my thoughts. So we already looked at the AL East standings, but here they are once again if you do not remember. 6 games back in the East. This is as of July 24th at 4:40 p.m. Central Time. So 6 games back, I don't think they're going to win the East. I've already said this. Let's look at the wild card, though. Again, as of 7:24 at 4:40 p.m. Central Time. The Red Sox are in a wild card spot. The Yankees have a 2-game lead in the wild card. The Mariners and Red Sox are de facto tied for the second spot. Then you've got the Rays, a game and a half back. The Rangers, a game and a half back. The Guardians, 2.5 games back. The Royals, 4.5 games back. The Angels, Angeles Angels, you know what I meant, 5 games back. I would say the Royals and Angels are probably out of it. Guardians, Rangers, and Rays are all very much in it, though. You have to win more games than you lose. Now, that's obvious. Okay, Jack, tell me something I don't know. Yes, you have to win more games than you lose. But I think they're in a good spot. The fact that they're currently in a spot and not fighting to get into a spot makes it a million times easier. You just have to outlast the teams that are chasing you. You don't have to have the teams above you lose. You just have to not lose when they win. You control your destiny. So I think they're in a really good spot, but they got to win. Like, they've got this, their strength of schedule is the hardest in all of baseball for the rest of the year. So they got to win. They got to show they're a playoff team. But if they do, and they win more than they lose, I think they're going to be just fine. If you think the Red Sox are a playoff team, smash the like button for me. Smash it. Smash it. If you're watching this video and you're 18 minutes into it, I think you think the Red Sox are a playoff team. So smash that like button right now. Don't miss out. And show the love. All right, last question, I promise. This is a long video, but I wanted to give you guys your money's worth for asking the questions on Instagram. So 5-star Amari, I wanted to end on a fun one. What's your all-time Red Sox lineup along with the starting pitcher? I'm going to do you one better. I did the entire rotation. I didn't just do one starting pitcher. I did the entire rotation. So here it is. Carlton Fisk clearly is going to be the catcher, one of the all-time greats. Jimmy Fox is going to be my first baseman. My favorite Red Sox player of all time, Dustin Pedroia, is going to be my second baseman, although I don't think that there's much argument there. Noma is my shortstop. Wade Boggs is my third baseman. The outfield, I did cheat a little bit, so please forgive me. Ted Williams is in left, I consider the greatest hitter of all time. Jim Rice, I cheated and put in center. He's, a longtime left fielder, but I cheated and put him in center. Sue me. I think he's one of the greatest Red Sox of all time, so I moved him to center. I put Mookie in right. And I think a lot of people might actually agree with me on this one. Mookie, when he was with the Sox in his prime, was incredible. And then Big Papi, of course, is the DH. You're winning all the World Series with that lineup. My rotation is just as good. Pedro's number 1, of course. Roger Clemens is number 2. The legend Louis Tiant, rest in peace, is my starting pitcher 3. Of course, you got to have Cy Young, the namesake of the best pitcher award every year, as my starting pitcher 4. I put Chris Sale at starting pitcher 5. He never won a Cy Young for the Sox, but my God, was he dominant. And then Jonathan Papelbon is my closer. Go down below in the comments. Be honest, but be nice. grade my all-time Red Sox lineup, A, B, C, D, or F. I think I probably hit most of them. Obviously there's guys on the bench, Varitek, Evans, Fred Lynn, like all these other guys that could be on the bench as well. But you let me know, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Before we get out of here, one last ask. Again, if you want to get on a mailbag like this in the future, they happen via my Instagram. So go down at the Red Sox Rundown on Instagram and make sure you follow us. I put these calls for the mailbag on my story. So help us get to 1,000 followers as soon as possible. We're getting there. We're growing. Thank you all so much for watching. This was a long video, but I appreciate y'all watching it. And until next time, go Sox.